Kind of translator again. Hi and welcome to Halo Chat, where we will be discussing episode 2 of Halo, the series, available on Paramount Plus, not a sponsor. And big time spoiler warning, so if you haven't seen the episode, don't watch this. Come back later, but don't watch it now. And if you'd like to continue to follow our journey, remember to like, subscribe, and comment below so that we can cover your thoughts in next week's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonnymoon.
Hello. Welcome to Halo Chat. You ready to chat about Halo?
Always.
Halo Chat!
Perfect. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. All right. So huge episode this week. Well, I don't want to say huge.
This was big.
It was big, but I still don't think overall that it was as good as the first episode as far as like pacing and like all the things that I don't think so, but we'll talk about how I feel about it like in our review section, so stick around if you want to see that. But I mean, it's still a big episode. So what are your thoughts?
I actually okay, so first off, I kind of have a different perspective of it, I guess. I thought it was I thought story-wise they were really starting to put their hooks into, you know, the viewer, and I started to kind of get that like feeling of like, oh, maybe I got to sit up in my seat a little bit. We're kind of, you know what one thing I really did notice about this episode, I think people got the chief they wanted. They got the man on the mission. Because especially when they were flying through that Pelican and he said everything dies, basically, you know, sit your ass down, buckle up. That's the man on the mission. That's what you guys wanted, right? You wanted that heartless son of a bitch, and you got him.
I'll tell you right now, that is not the chief that they want. You know why? Because he was not wearing his helmet half the time. But that's an entirely different issue. He was like robotic in this episode for sure. The entire episode he was much more robotic than he was in the first episode, which was really interesting because like they set up that whole thing in the first episode about him like kind of like getting unbrainwashed about his UNSC programming, and this episode he was like re-brainwashed but for no reason. Like he was just doped up, I guess. He was going back to his training and his training, his killer instincts and all that. They were like I said, man on a mission. He was back in the saddle of being the soldier. And when we met the chief with this storytelling, he had been basically, we witnessed him being like snapped out of this like brainwashed John 117, you know, like, and so now that he kind of had like, I don't know, like a night to rest. He had some nuts, remember? Because that's his like apparently his favorite snack. And bolts and circuits,
And he kind of like, you know, fresh start and back to the man on the mission, the guy that's got, you know, he's got to get somewhere. So it was very like, that's why I started off by saying I think this is the chief the people wanted, aside from his helmet to be on. Which I have a comment about that as well.
So the episode opened like the first thing that we were given in the very beginning of the episode was the flashback, which a huge indicator about the chief shouldn't show his face the entire episode. But in this specific flashback, like we're going to see Chief. We're going to see Chief out of his armor. We're going to see Chief in flashbacks. We're going to see Chief. Just being a person. And that was Soren, which was mentioned in the first episode with the Soren protocol, which is just Spartan going rogue. And it was interesting because the assumption that I had, which was different than what I believed Chief to be in general in the games, is that Chief was completely brainwashed, which he mostly was. But the evidence that he still had his moral compass, even when he was a child, in like the depth of the indoctrination and the depth of his augmentation and training in the Spartan program, it's not just the relic that's doing this to him. Like Chief has a moral compass regardless of whether or not he touched the relic. It's just that the relic is unlocking memories in him, making him question himself.
It's like it's like jump starting that part of him.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's always been. They're leading us to believe it's always been there,
Mm-hmm.
and the relic is just kind of like boosting that attribute of his. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, the relic was like a catalyst for him. A lot of people,
Right.
when I was talking to people about the previous episode and seeing John act the way he does and like taking off his helmet and like being caring to Quan
Yeah.
Ha,
Oh,
they're
man.
like
Yeah.
I mentioned Chief and I like talked about in the games when Chief is like heartfelt and like showing his feelings,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't happen all that often.
Yeah.
It does, but
Yeah,
a lot of
it does.
people mentioned the amount of time he spends with Cortana, and he obviously doesn't have Cortana at this point, but Cortana
Right.
was his, I guess, catalyst over the course of the games, being with Cortana the entire time and essentially falling in love with Cortana,
Right.
like evolving his
Right.
character as time went on. But this relic
Yeah.
is almost
Yeah.
forming a different catalyst, giving us the same result
Yeah.
of like jump starting him and
Right.
unindoctrinating him immediately
Right.
without having to
Right.
introduce Cortana
So-
that early.
Right. So obviously we're going to be introduced to Cortana as we were towards the end of this episode when they were talking about the Cortana program, but like that's what we've kind of were establishing with this like little this VR pod chat we're doing is like I'm hoping that we can get these fans of Halo who are having a hard time. I feel like that's sort of what's starting to form, that we can get
Yep.
these fans of Halo to enjoy what is happening as a fan of Halo. It might not be the same story that we've been told. It might not be the same story from the books. It might not be the same story from the game. But like, if you fell in love with that story, you're gonna fall in love with this story. And so like you were saying, the relic is kind of doing what Cortana did for him in the books and the series that we had followed, prior to the show. So it's going to be very interesting when we get to actually seeing Cortana integrated into his story, that he's already got this real human element going on about him before what we have experienced as her being kind of like the key to unlocking those bits and pieces of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he lets Soren go in the beginning. He doesn't let
Right.
him fully
Yeah.
go because he really doesn't give him much of a chance at all.
No.
But he lets him go.
Right, he gave him
which is
5
important.
minutes.
Yeah. And then the episode cuts to
What a dick.
yeah, what a dick. But listen, he's a work in progress. But then the episode
It's true.
proceeds to him going to this place that he knows that Soren is in. Like it's the one place
Right.
that he has been told in the galaxy that he's aware of,
Yeah.
where he can hide from the UNSC. So he goes straight there, which is this Rubble station, which is just an asteroid station.
It's like it's an asteroid community, an asteroid colony.
an asteroid colony just
Yeah.
out of
I mean, it was
all outcasts and stuff.
They've been doing a really good job at these like environmental shots. I've been really blown away by how massive this world looks on TV.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's when we first saw the asteroid with all the lights and the connecting parts to it, and I don't know. It was really blowing me away. But yeah, we end up there.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was reminiscent to seeing like Nowhere in Guardians of the Galaxy for the first time. You remember when they come out of hyperspace or whatever it is and see the station. But I will say I made a note of two things when I watched this. And to play devil's I loved the episode, but to play devil's advocate on a couple things, the coming out of hyperspace into the asteroid field, and you were talking about it before, like sit down and buckle up, and whatever, everything dies, and like
everything
just
dies.
relax. But like that, like going through asteroids trope, what like it to me was like a little bit much. Like this is an established
like the
colony.
Pelican
Like
should have been shredded to pieces.
No. Like it's like too easy. You know what I mean? Like it's like, we have a spaceship. It's in space. We should have him go through asteroids like a scary sequence where he's going through asteroids, but like it doesn't really
okay,
make,
I see. You just
like
right.
like I'm nitpicking.
It didn't change the story. It didn't
change the story. It was just like a weird thing that they chose to include.
Yeah.
And on that,
I think that was there to show his seriousness and how he addresses, you know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think you have to kind of get that soldier part of him. So he's like, you know, he was really cool, calm, and collected during that whole thing. Mind you, he had a kid screaming in the back. Papa Chief had to drive.
Papa Chief, you just sit down, buckle up, and if we die, we die.
Buckle up.
That's all.
And if we die, we die.
This is the best advice that you could possibly get in life. If you die, you die.
Literally, that's what happens when you get in a car with Chief. I don't know what to tell you.
Right out of the mouth of Chief. And then going into that station, there was a sequence where everybody was like pointing his gun or whatever, and he did the thing where they blocked him off, and they like don't want to shoot at him, but they they want to seem intimidating, and then they block him off with a forklift, so and he's like
heavy crates. Yeah, he just one arms the crates to the side. Yeah,
I love that.
Okay, yeah. See, okay, that's funny because I thought that was silly.
You thought that was silly?
I was like, okay, that's the feat of strength. We know he's a super soldier that's got strength, but like one arm moving a forklift backwards was the feat of strength.
Yeah, that was like the thing
But it's funny that you had a problem with the asteroids and I had a problem with the forklift.
Yeah. To be fair though, I found like a lot, like almost the entire Rubble little story arc to be a little bit silly, which is why I don't really like this episode as much as I liked the first episode. And I don't know if that's a product of me being so excited. Like I really, really loved the first episode. I watched it twice and like didn't have a problem with it at all. Yeah. But I feel like if I went back and watched this one again, I would be a little bit bored because it wasn't as like fast paced. But it was interesting to see because it's like a world building thing, and it was like more of like the interaction between the characters. But like the entire just Rubble sequence was a little bit like zany to me almost, because then Soren comes in and like he's like going to take him to his apartment or whatever.
Yeah,
and I love
Soren, by the way. I thought he was great.
I mean, Soren was great. Soren was really, really cool.
I loved that character. Like total opposite of Chief. I loved it. Yeah.
What was interesting is I watched the like behind the scenes or whatever for that episode, and that actor.
Oh, okay. Oh, they have that. I didn't know
mentioned. They had that. Yeah. It's like it's very similar to what we're doing here. But but stay here and don't worry about it.
But stay here.
That actor was talking about how he was like playing the character, and then he mentioned something that I know that if like Halo fanboys that do not like the series will latch onto and be mad about. The way he talked about playing the part was very much implying that he didn't look into whatever the source material was. He just played the part the way he believed the part should be played, which I don't think is wrong.
Like he read. No, I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's wrong.
He knows he knows what the character is.
Yeah. As long as they're not just like making up what a Spartan. Like if you list out all the qualities of a Spartan and this Soren character in particular, like as long as you can just follow that, I don't think you're gonna like screw up anything. You know what I mean? Like if you make him like a silly character that's like laughing and doing backflips and being like like a jester, like then you're taking the character totally away from what it actually is. But any of these characters, that's what I'm saying. Like it's going to be told, I think, in the best way possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's wrong that he's not necessarily looking at whatever the source material was or whatever for Soren, but he played the part the way that he felt like he should play it based on the script and based on the story that they're trying to tell, and I think that he did a really good job. But then
I think he did a great job. Yeah.
Zany act number 2 for Rubble.
Yeah, what's that?
Was the Disney minecart Gringotts ride of a transportation device that they got on, and it was like coming off the tracks and it flung itself out into space to go to wherever they were going. Yeah, like that was like that really took
that was
me
a little
out of it.
silly.
Yeah, that really
they didn't have to do that special ride out into the outer fields of this asteroid colony, but
That was very strange, and it felt to me
but
like almost they were like hoping that eventually it could be a ride. You know what I mean? Like they could like make it into like a universal thing.
Oh,
but
can you imagine? Like that would.
Yes, I can. I saw it on the episode. And then you come out and Chief is there.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
But I just loved how they showed like the polar opposites of what a Spartan looks like when the brainwashing wears off.
Yeah.
And I just there was that one scene. So they didn't do too much talking in the ride. We'll call it. in their Universal, theme park ride. They didn't do too much talking, but I did love the part and the comment where, he like Soren's talking about his life and all this and that, and Chief says, I'm happy for you. And he goes, oh yeah, I can tell. Those little jokey jabs at Chief for still being like so stiff. It was like seeing your good buddy that you hadn't seen in a long time, and like no matter how much time or distance has passed, like you're still the same buddies. You know what I mean? I really loved that's like one of the things about Spartans. Like they're soldiers, they're killers, they're like deadly weapons, but they're still people, people who went through traumatic experiences together. And although he's suppressed, which I really loved that they even went into the detail about how he couldn't taste food. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I loved that detail. But it's just fun that like they keep showing these complete differences with Chief, and we're getting like a firsthand, because we're basically on his shoulders during this storytelling, and you're just like experiencing, you're experiencing everything that he's seeing firsthand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is like every single. I mean, we've only had 2 episodes, but they really are driving in the fact that the UNSC is the bad guys in this scenario. At least one
UNSC
of the bad
is a
guys.
monster.
The UNSC are, and you have to remember that the Spartan program that they created at the time was to fight humans. It had nothing to do with the Covenant.
Right.
It had nothing to, it like kind of makes sense if you're using it to fight the Covenant, but they made super soldiers, and they did everything that they did to them. Soren has that like wreck of a hand because Halsey's experiments destroyed him, which was his catalyst on leaving the academy. Yeah. And like his indicator that they don't care about us. Like look at what happened to me. Look at what happened to me, John. Yeah. We need to go before this happens to you.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. He's got that messed up hand from experiments. That's crazy. But and then we see that like scene where it cuts to. Well, do you want to keep talking about? Do you want to just cover the whole like Rubble thing, or do you want to talk about the like council meeting where they talked about Cortana?
We can talk about. I mean, I think we got the idea of like the Rebel stuff, but before we do move on to the council stuff, which was a good. I like that scene as well. There was a lot of like that's one of those moments in the series or in this episode too, where I was I sat up because I felt like I was like, oh, a juicy drama, juicy.
Or on St. Helios, we call it.
Yeah, and that's too hard to pronounce for me. But so one thing that I just wanted to and I'm not that I'm hung up on the helmet thing, and I hope this is the last like helmet thing that I say. Okay, just hear me out, viewers. Okay, listen, when you're seeing these scenes of Chief like interacting with families and kids and humans, and he's like eating fruit, okay, just think. How silly would it be if he had his helmet on right now? That's all I want people to do is when they see these scenarios, when these any scene that you're like really diving into and you're like really experiencing, like you're connecting with what's happening, you're really following the story, the characters, the plot. I want you to take a moment and be like, would this be silly if his helmet was on? That's all I want. I want there to I want us to like swallow that pill.
Like and then a lot of people will talk about like. A lot of people mention like the Mandalorian when talking about something like that. Is like, well, the Mandalorian interacts with.
Maybe I shouldn't say
that. Well, spoiler alert for the first season.
Spoiler.
Of the Mandalorian. But
Spoiler alert.
I told you it was full of spoilers here. But
Hey, dude,
but the
what?
Mandalorian is a completely different thing. The Mandalorian is like a completely different thing. He's not supposed to take his helmet off, but we know Chief takes his helmet off. We know Chief. But we'll talk about it in the comments section. We'll talk about it. But so going on more about the Rubble thing, we meet Soren's family. Soren spends most of the time trying to continue to convince Chief that the UNSC is like the bad guys. He wants him to like join him here and live your life, John. Live your life. Like, you're a person. You deserve to be a person.
Man. Take a hit of this space drug.
Yeah,
they're trying to get Chief to do drugs.
Clarity. High clarity is what.
Clarity. What is this? It's clarity. I mean, that was a smooth answer. But of course like we got to get some clarity on the show. I don't know if we can do that in the VR pod chat, but we'll figure it out. It's somewhere out there in this great big world of ours.
Yeah, we'll find it. I'll bring it off my ship next episode. But yeah. So he spends most of the time trying to convince John, you need to just leave. You need to forget about all of this and just come live your life.
Let it go, my boy.
Come live your life. Yeah. And then he brings him to that again, following the theme of zaniness in Rubble. That weird medium guy who was like I was prepared for him to be like a shaman or something, or like something like kind of like cool,
I
but
didn't
not like crazy
groveling on the ground, on all fours. I don't know that I liked his character. I thought his character was good for somebody who was basically abducted by aliens, right? That's what they were going for.
It makes sense because he's probably insane because of what he's gone through.
Right, he's insane. But like, just because he's insane doesn't mean he's like an animal. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I really. It was the crawling around on all fours and stuff was a little off for me. I was like, he doesn't need to be like, I don't know, like animalistic, but I thought the same thing. Like, he was going to be like this shaman who had seen some crazy shit. He'd been abducted by aliens, which I thought was a funny way of putting it, because, it's like, we know aliens exist, obviously. I'm standing right next to one. But like, exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. But yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, like that his character was cool. I did like it. I did like the insane guy that had been abducted by aliens. I loved that.
Yeah, it was just a little bit. It was a little bit much, because there was also like the pens where they had the other insane people, and he was bringing them churros.
Right.
Churros.
Right.
They like sweets,
I mean, who doesn't like a good churros?
It's just like,
who doesn't like
really
a good
weird. It was really weird, but it did set up it happened in several moments throughout the show, but it did set up the implication that John is special. John is special.
A blessed one.
A blessed one. Which
what I mean,
like, who knows what I mean. Knowing the games, I assume it's the reclaimer. It's the ability that humans have in the game to interact with Forerunner technology. However, this is proving in this episode, we've seen several indicators that it is not just humans that can interact with Forerunner tech, like in the games. You have to be special, which is like, I don't have a problem with it. I think people will see it as another indicator that they're diverging from the games or whatever it might be. Yeah. But I don't think that it's a problem as far as storytelling goes. Get over it, Eugene.
Get over it.
Yeah, I don't think as far as like the plot goes, it makes any difference whatsoever whether or not it helps.
I don't think
because
it does.
Now we have I don't know her name, but the blessed one with the covenant.
We're getting a connection to the right. Yeah. That's like building that's like establishing the bridge between her and inevitably the conversation with Chief. And who knows, man? When I saw that, I was like, there's no way that she's some sort of like Spartan that was like nabbed at some point. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe it could be, but I don't know. The only other part about that like insane guy was he said a lot of big storytelling points that were like connecting Chief to like being the blessed one and this and that, and you know, like, I can see it in your eyes and all this and that, but like he never, I guess maybe that's the point. He's not supposed to really know what it is about Chief that's so special, but he can clearly see it. He can clearly see it. He can feel it. But man, when Chief grabbed him and slammed him on the wall, I was like, "Oh shit, this guy's about to get his head ripped off." Like you just triggered the soldier.
Yeah.
And then he realized he was doing he went too far.
It's like weird to see because
what am I?
What am I? But like what's so interesting about that though is because everybody has been complaining, like the people that have a serious problem with the show are complaining that this chief is not their chief because he's like, why is he so soft or whatever. But what's
bro, this guy's not soft.
Well, I know, but like to me though, that little snippet wasn't like my chief, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But like Chief probably wouldn't have done that in the game.
He wouldn't have lost his cool.
But this,
he would not have lost his.
Chief
would have definitely not have lost his cool, and
never loses.
He would have never lost his cool, and he would have never grabbed somebody by their neck, and pinned them on a wall because he was upset.
Yeah.
No.
But as far as story goes, that's indicating that he's like really in a bad place right now. He has no idea what he's going through, and he has no idea what he is. He has no, like, literally he has no idea what he is because he can't remember. He can't even remember who he is as a person, let alone what it could mean that he could interact with this covenant related artifact.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And he's starting to hear things like it's a weapon, you're a part of it. And then remember the guy said at the very end before they finished the exchange, what you can do is you can destroy the relic and then you can destroy yourself.
Yeah.
And telling that to somebody who's like suffering already, like it probably was very hard to hear that because Chief has always been told he's a good guy. He's the good guy. He's the one. And then even towards the end of the episode, at some point, Halsey tells him, you know, you're supposed to protect people. You are the protector. So to hear, he literally hears 2 points, two sides of of his own coin. End yourself and protect everyone. I don't know. That's a mind fuck. That's a huge mind fuck.
Yeah, because it's end yourself to protect everybody. And like when it comes to Chief, when that's the most important thing in the world, he probably considers it. Like he doesn't understand. He
probably considers it.
He probably considers it. Yeah, and he goes back to the one person that he thinks will know anything about this, the smartest woman in the entire universe, as far as he knows.
Right. And so that exchange, I think it's especially when he kind of loses his cool, it then triggers his next movements, right? He starts to think like, man, this is bad. This is not good. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know what this is, but now I just heard that I'm potentially the problem. I have potentially a weapon. And so what does he do? He goes back to the people that are literally hunting him. Mm-hmm.
Which was like that another like, and again, devil's advocate against like completely
play the devil's advocate, man.
And it's not, I guess it's not devil's advocate, it's devil's advocate against
son of a gun.
Yeah. But they made a point to show the other Spartans going to go find Chief, and even like them in space talking about where he went, but then he just like kind of goes back, and there's no like that's almost completely pointless. Like I understand why they showed it, because it's like, oh, they're going to go get him, and we need to know that they like want to go find him.
Yeah.
But it was also like it didn't come to fruition in any way, because he just like it would have been cool if he if they showed up and he was like they're like, you have to come with us, Chief, and he's like, I know, and he's like, no, or okay, or he could have said I know, but you know what, it felt like just a reason to give us some airtime to more Spartans, you know. Like it felt like a reason just to see more Spartan, not just Chief. And that's fine. I mean, again, it didn't come to fruition, like to have him being arrested or whatever. But I'll tell you what, one thing about this episode, I'm myself personally
am starting to see a scenario taking place out in the future with Chief and his team.
Yeah.
The blonde Spartan, the one that I've seen her helmet off the most, aside from the other guy.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna be trouble. I think Big Dude is going to be, I feel like he took to heart that he's got to protect Chief no matter what. I think she's starting to get a little suspicious of like what he, like why is he allowed to break the rules, and why is this so important? And the third Spartan, I don't have their names yet, or remembered, but actually I think the third Spartan is 028 or 026 or something. The one that you haven't seen their helmet off. I'm starting to see like the pieces start to come together of the interaction that's going to happen with the four of them. That it's going to be, I don't know. I'm starting to see that like that wheel turning of potential problems for Chief and his team.
Yeah. I mean, I can totally see that, like, just being a story element where half of them are for him, half of them are against him, and he has to go do something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Come on, let's be real though. He's got to go again, And I guess we can talk about how he's probably going to leave. Probably he's going to be let go, like he's going to be released because we were introduced to then the Cortana program, or the Cortana project.
Yeah. Which was really strange. It was really strange. I don't know if I'm misinterpreting what. So there was a scene in the episode. If you've watched it, we both assume that you have. There was a scene in the episode where they had a council meeting. They were talking about
spoiler episode. We're talking about it.
Yeah. There was a scene where they were going over like the situation in Magical with the guy that is clearly not good for Magical.
Right.
Kind of brush past that. We know evil dictator, whatever.
Bad guy.
We get it. Yeah. And then they go.
He's got a trench coat, right?
He's got a trench coat. Yeah. I mean, he's obviously.
Obviously,
it's a little much. That guy is like.
Soren had a trench coat too, but he wasn't the bad guy.
He wasn't the bad guy. No, he had a trench coat.
His shoulders were huge though. I don't know why they made. Huge. I don't know why they kept him in.
He was still in his armor, I think. But it was like.
But like I just thought it was silly. I don't know, not silly, but I thought it was kind of weird that they put his coat over his armor. Anyways,
I don't know. And you know why? Because sci-fi mining asteroid colony.
Right, you're right.
That, like literally, that's the only reason.
That's literally the answer.
Some guy was like, "This will look cool," and they did that.
Yeah.
But so they went through the council meeting where they were talking about deuterium or whatever it is in deuterium, I think is Star Trek, but whatever it is, hydrogen.
No, I know
whatever
what you're
fuel
about.
source for the UNSC. And then they dabble through that, and then they talk about the Chief problem. They're like, what's going on with Chief? And then Halsey takes the opportunity. What's going on with Chief? Let us know what's going on. Halsey takes the opportunity to slither her way in to talk about Cortana, even though she knows in front of everybody.
Yeah.
It's like, here's
that's
the
when
one solution.
That's when I sat up.
You.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so there's this project that I was told to get rid of. Let's talk about that real quick.
But she
just snuck that in.
She makes it sound. She makes it sound like the other lady is on board. The whatever.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Juicy
administrator or whatever. Drama. Here we go.
Here we go.
And then that lady's like. Halsey, you bitch.
Oh my god. Yeah, she was so stiff. She was like, yeah, I guess we could do that. Sure. But I love that the one guy was just like, if it's good for the UNSC, I mean, as long as we can make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, I mean, I don't see a problem. I don't want to get sued, right? I don't want anybody to find out we're doing some
don't tell me what's
bad,
going on.
Bad
just
shit.
Make sure you're doing it right? But
is that because cloning is an implication, or is that because is that like super frowned upon?
They talked about it being illegal to flash clone humans, so it's probably some sort of humanitarian law or whatever in the future that they can't do that because it's unethical, which is probably what we would do in real life. So she talks about the Cortana program. as the next step of human evolution. And she talks about it being something that will overwrite the Spartans' minds. So it's like she's not like one she's insane.
Halsey, you slick snake.
Like whatever it is completely different than the Cortana that we're accustomed to, and that's going to cause a couple aneurysms. I'm sure.
Yeah. But, if you had a problem with the helmet, wait until you see how they try to
tell you about Cortana.
Yeah, let me tell you about Cortana now. So what? How do you think they're going to implement Cortana? Because I was having a conversation about it today, and I think I have an idea as to what they're doing. But I wanted to talk to you about it first, or talk to you about it on this here Halo chat.
Literally have no real idea, because the system is obviously something that's going to control their minds. It's not going to be like, it's going to wipe their minds, and Cortana is going to be the one controlling the Spartan. But Cortana is a human that's been created through flash cloning. So here, I don't really understand what.
So here's what I think's going to happen. Now I guess you got to kind of know a little bit about Halo, right? About the Spartan project and the program and all that. So Halsey, in order to get these Spartans, they have to kidnap children, right? That's established. Like, we know, as you know, if you're following Halo, you know that's how the program's made. They kidnap the kids, and they put a clone in place, and the child usually doesn't last very long. Like, the cloned child doesn't usually last very long. Mm-hmm. On purpose. So there's like, it's just like a natural cause of death. Nobody asks any questions. Everybody moves on with their life. So seeing that they're going with this like injected artificial intelligence into someone's consciousness, like kind of like taking over their own mind, I think what Halsey's doing is she's doing the flash cloning, which that's why they didn't want to hear about it. They didn't want to hear that somebody's being flash cloned. But if you were to find out somebody was flash cloning, I don't think people are going to be as upset that Halsey was doing it to herself. And I think what she's doing is inserting the artificial intelligence, Cortana, into her clone, because I think she is capable of understanding and being okay with her clone dying at some point. Like it's part of the experiment. She wants to see on herself what happens when you inject Cortana into conscious someone else's brain.
Sure.
So I think that's what we're seeing with this clone of her in a pod. I think that is like the full finished product of Cortana. All they got to do is wake it up, and then I think once they wake it up, I think we'll then get We'll get closer to how we know Cortana, which is this like blue light that appears shining on top of like a hollow table. You know what I mean? I think that's what we're gonna get. Yeah, we're gonna get closer to seeing like the Cortana we know as this light being of information and all that. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm picturing this whole thing going with the clone. I think, and this is the conversation I was having earlier. In order for people who, and this is how I continue to think about it. In order for people who don't watch or don't know Halo, in order for somebody to accept Cortana and artificial intelligence as a character in a TV show, you have to humanize it first. You have to put it in a human form, I think, in order for this to work. So that, because I can't imagine Cortana being in a human form following Chief around.
No. Yeah, that would be very strange. That would be very strange.
That would be really strange. And
Cortana has always been a clone of Halsey, but it was more of a brain scan clone.
Right. It was
like, it was a clone of her.
It was
her mind.
Yeah, it was a digital copy. Yeah.
Yeah. But here we're seeing a physical clone. But I'm curious to see, because you mentioned like not caring that the clone dies. I'm curious to see if the way that they're going to explain Halsey like copying her mind is just like cloning herself, and but to also have like a blank slate, I guess, to work with, cloning herself out of like kind of like a hubris thing where like she thinks that she's better than anybody, so I'm going to clone me because my brain's the best and I'm going to clone myself, and then they're going to like kill the physical version of Cortana and then like pull her like brain scan to be the AI of Cortana.
Right.
It's either that or she's going to be like some sort of like in the pod, but able to virtually project herself to multiple Spartans or something. Like it's a very strange thing. I'm interested to see what they.
I really think the clone is just a vessel to test in. I think in order to avoid the red tape and getting shut down, I think people will have a less of a problem if Halsey is cloning herself rather than, cloning another person of importance. So I think, and also the reason why I believe that we're not going to see this clone other than the introduction of Cortana is because in the trailer from 2 months ago, we got that image of Cortana, and she's kind of, she's not like a solid blue or purple character, but
she looks
she's more
human,
of like a
pretty much.
She looked a hologram. She looked human, but it's a hologram. You're right. She looked human, but it's a hologram, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we're gonna eventually get the Cortana we know, but I think in order to get to that point, we need that stage or that step of like making her a human character. That's like, hi, Chief, I'm Cortana, or hey, Chief, that thing in there is me, and Cortana. Like Cortana's in that brain, something like that. That's how I see this whole thing playing out.
No. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I mean, but let's be honest. Neither one of us has any idea what's going on. Like,
I have no fucking idea what's happening.
Like, on St. Helios, we call situations like this in a pumpkin patch. So it's just nobody has any idea what's going on. Nobody has any idea what's going on.
No, but this is all speculation, like deep speculation.
All speculation, because we the only thing we know at this point is that John knows that he can interact with the relic. The relic is leading us to the ring, which they now believe, similar to Combat Evolved, they now believe is a weapon that will probably kill the Covenant, or if the Covenant have it, it'll kill the humans. Yeah, but we know.
Well,
we know what's going on.
We know what it's going on. But also the insane guy said a weapon that will end everything. Mm-hmm. So I'm leading.
He said it was a doorway to what did he say? He was like, he called it a doorway at first, and I was like, please don't make it some sort of portal, because now I'm a little bit.
No. I'm pretty sure he said a doorway to the end of everything or something like that. Yeah. Because I thought he was going to say the same thing. I thought he was going to be like, it's a doorway to another world, and I was be like, wait, okay, you can do the helmet thing.
To life as we know it. That's what he called it. That's what he called it. A doorway to the end of life as we know it.
Right. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you really want to piss off these people, don't change what the ring does.
Don't make it a Stargate. Don't make it like that. Like
don't make it a Stargate. Paramount. If you're listening,
that'll be like the one thing that like will really be like.
We can't defend that. We can't defend. We literally cannot.
We're really
can't
advocating
defend
for
that.
your show. Let me tell you. But
we can't defend the ring change. Yeah. Oh boy, I didn't even think about that. But
that'll be weird.
Oh man.
But I mean, if it happens,
so if it happens, I mean, I guess we have to just find out how they're gonna talk about this ring and what it means to us. I assume that's gonna be pretty standard of what happens. But I just wanted to say one thing before I forget. I've been thinking about it since I watched, this second episode. I don't know his last name, but the actor Pablo, that guy is Master Chief. He is the Master Chief.
He's very good.
He is the Master Chief. He's very good at this character. It is it's different than what I have experienced following this character for all the years that I've been following the Master Chief. This episode, and you were saying it's like a little slow, but I appreciated that because I got to know him more. And the different scenarios, interacting with somebody, an old friend, interacting with other humans, interacting with the UNSC, interacting with Halsey. Like, I got to see him. I got to continue to see the layers peeled back, and I think this actor he has me just as excited to get to know Master Chief as it was for me, like learning about the Master Chief all those years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
that
he's doing an
same.
excellent
It's that
job.
same. It's that same excitement of like, man, I can't wait to know more about this guy.
Yeah, for sure. He's doing great, and he's really doing the character justice, I think. Voice aside, and I'm actually like, I can tell that I'm like very much getting used to even the voice in the suit. Like I'm like, okay, like I almost I'm sorry, Chief. I'm sorry, regular Master Chief, but I'm like my brain is getting rewired into thinking that that's Master Chief's voice.
No. Listen. No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on like, not that we're cheating on the voice actor who is Chief, because that voice is iconic, but this guy is becoming the Master Chief. I said it out loud, you know, alone while I was watching, when he was driving the Pelican and when he was like giving out orders of like, you know, chill out, sit down, everything dies. I was like, this guy is Master Chief. He gets it. He got the character, that like the soldier. That being said, I did have to kind of like say the lines from the games a couple times, just to, because my brain was starting to like lean towards like, oh yeah, this guy's getting it. But I'm like, you know what? No, we got to have like the give me a weapon, you know, like that type of grovelly.
If he doesn't say that's one thing that he like, wake me when I'm needed. He
get
really
some
needs
lines from the game. That'd be
a little bit of lines from the game. Yeah,
lines from the game would be great.
The only other thing that we have to, like we can talk about for the episode really is the Blessed One scenes, where we're getting the like we're getting more of that background as far as this human that's with the Covenant. And my belief, my thought is like a lot of people are very upset at the idea that the Covenant are working with a human, but what I see are the prophets manipulating a young woman who they've had since birth, that they know is one of the only people that can interact with Forerunner technology, and they're tricking this person, indoctrinating them into their way of thinking. Into
teaching
the
them about the great journey.
The great journey. I loved that they talked about the great journey in this episode.
The reason why I'm like, is she some sort of Spartan, is because when she was doing the changing scene, which risque, Paramount, well done.
I take
that was
issue
tasteful.
I
loved it.
Of course,
you didn't like it?
What was the point of it?
So listen, because you had to see the scar on her back.
Okay,
you had to
understand that. That's what I told myself when I saw it. But
because at first, I agree. At first, I was like, I don't understand why she's getting undressed in her
like, what's going on
in her pod. Is it a room? Yeah, no, I don't know. Yes, it was a little confusing to start. But once the camera started to work its way around, like you saw the scarring on her back, and that's when I was like, oh, is she some like? Is there some sort of Spartan related thing? Because we get to see we see that image a lot. We see the image a lot in the introduction. Go ahead.
Let me hit you with a theory that I've come across, that I saw earlier today. They are replacing.
She scratched her back too hard.
No. Well, the scar is different, I think, than the like surgical scars of Spartans.
It is.
But
I mean, the alien hands are just not good at it, though.
The theory that I saw was that they're going to be using this character to replace what we know as the arbiter, and that scar is the same like mark of shame that they did to the arbiter in Halo 2.
Damn.
And she'll function. I know. I would very much like to see the arbiter, which I assumed was the elite that was talking in that scene, because he does look like the arbiter, but like it would make sense if they took her and replace, which is going to make so many people mad. However,
but also don't be mad. Don't be mad.
Like go into it with an open mind. Continue to go into it with an open mind. You said it earlier. The whole reason
they're
about
be
this chat,
so mad.
I feel like is to try to get people that are potentially
just
on the fence about this, or like believing.
Enjoy the ride.
Just enjoy the ride. We're not a cult.
Just enjoy the ride.
Just enjoy the ride in the Warthog. On Halo chat. But yeah, so that I could see that happening. Where like she essentially fills the role of, I'm going to go do this thing for the Covenant, and then ends up siding with Chief eventually.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
I really
see
hope that there's an arbiter,
Yeah.
because I love the elites. The elites are so cool.
Yeah.
And I like,
So
I
do
want
I.
to continue to have more elites in my life.
If they yeah, I totally agree.
As you can see.
If they do, you're not biased at all. If they decide to do that, then it is what it is. And man, I know you love the Arbiter. I know you really love that character. Yeah, and I know, don't be sad about it, man. I know. I just don't see them not introducing that character, though. They're talking about pretty much everything else.
Mm-hmm.
If they decide to make him or make the Arbiter more of like a minor character, that's fine. But to totally replace the character itself would be a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't think they should do that. I think if you do have to do something like that, at least introduce the Arbiter as the character, you know, that he is. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But the stripping scene was bizarre to me. It was very similar to me to like the feeling of you remember like Daenerys Targaryen in the early HBO where they like showed her nude just at the drop of a pen or whatever on Sang Helios we would say that they show her nude every time she's and like it's not something that we go for really on Sang Helios anymore. We respect our
anymore.
anymore. I mean, there was problems back.
No, I
back in Sang Helios. It was a big problem back then.
There were problems. Oh, that's another story. But I understand what you're saying. Like, yeah, it was much, but I guess for me it was easier to like. I agree with you. When it was happening, I was like, I don't understand why. You know, what a random shot. But the fact that they kind of like did that close up on the scar. I was like, oh, okay.
That's why, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I had the same
That's
reaction.
why we have to see that huge. I mean, it's not just a tiny little scar either. It's a huge scar on her back. And so, yeah, I'm sure we're gonna find out what it means, why it's important, and you're probably right. You're probably right that it's to replace what the Arbiter's character would have been in Halo.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But
those prophets look freaking awesome, though. Man.
The
like,
prophets,
I'm
like
so
every
happy.
single time anybody talks about the CGI on that show being bad, which like there were a couple shots where it's not good, whatever.
Right.
But those
the Covenant have
look
looked awesome,
so good. Those prophets look perfect. Like, and I'm pretty sure it's the same voice actor as the prophet. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but it sounds
well, it would be fun
exactly
if it was.
like the original prophet.
Yeah. That's really cool.
As far as overall rating, how many out of 10 would you give it?
Well, so see, the dialect is a little hard for me to pronounce, so I'm just going to use the human language. I would give this one 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 for this one too?
I think the last one I think the last one I gave 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10, yeah, for the first one. Mm.
Yeah, for the first one. For this one, I'm giving it 8 out of 10 because we're slowly creeping up on this like storytelling with Chief, and I'm really 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 enjoying that because I love Master Chief. You know, I love that character. So as long as you do justice to him, I'm gonna enjoy what's happening probably.
Okay, yeah. I think. I mean, considering that I enjoyed it. But I enjoyed it less than the first episode, and there was some like weird zany parts. I would probably like, honestly, I want to say, and like you're gonna hate me for it, but I would do like
I think I know what it is.
Like six or like
that's what I thought.
Like maybe top 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like that. Like
right.
I didn't love it, but I still had a good time. I still enjoyed it. But I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as that first episode. The first episode really had me on the edge of my what?
Yeah, no, I agree, and because I know you, I kind of figured you would go low for this with the 6, it's not super low, and we're basing it out of 10, so we're still above that 5. But yeah,
It's like slightly above
actually,
average, I would think, or like
yeah,
middle of the ground. Like, it didn't love it, didn't hate.
yeah. Yeah, it's actually I'm really liking that we're watching this. You and I are both big fans of Halo, and I'm really liking that, like, you're thinking some things are silly where I think the other things are silly. So that gives me hope. That gives me hope that we're not just going to be, fangirling about the Halo show and teehee, because I could. If you wanted me to just be like super positive,
I really
about
could.
the show.
Like if we weren't doing like a legitimate, like, trying to like tell you the real deal, whatever, and I was just watching this
like
casually,
talking about
I would just, and like we were just talking about it, I'd be like, yeah,
hell yeah, man,
yeah, Halo, man, like Halo, like
Halo,
like
man.
like I don't like,
Halo,
let's
man.
tell you, man, like, just go into it with an open mind, and you're going to enjoy it. It's as simple as that. Like,
you know what? Listen, follow us, enjoy the conversation. We're with you. We're fans. We're with you. We understand. We get it. You don't gotta yell at me. You don't gotta yell at him. It's okay. We're gonna the helmet's gonna stay on, and that's at some it's gonna come off a lot, but it's gonna go back on. So
they're gonna throw out the helmet.
Yeah, the helmet. It goes on and it goes off.
You know what was what was a weirder scenario than Chief removing his helmet in the series? That one teaser cinematic we got for Halo 3, where he was wearing a cloak. Like, that was weird. Like, that's weirder than Chief
I didn't
taking
see
off.
That. Where are you seeing?
Yes,
this is after the episode?
No, I'm talking about like 10 years ago for Halo 3.
You
remember? And he's like in the desert,
Halo 3.
and he's like in the hooded cloak for some reason.
And we never and we never saw like the cloak ever again in the game.
No, and I was
he
excited
just
about
totally
the cloak.
got rid of the cloak.
I was totally
excited. Did you guys have problems with the cloak? I bet a lot of you thought the cloak was fucking cool. I bet a lot of you were like missing the cloak. Man, you guys are okay.
It's double standards.
But
double standards.
Give me the helmet. Don't give me. Anyways, okay. So 6 and an 8. That sounds about.
I feel
about
dirty
us.
about it. I feel dirty about it.
Don't feel dirty. I know you're not hurting. You're not hurting Halo. It's okay. Hey, look at me. Hey, it's okay. You're a fan.
I am a fan. You're a fan. I will always be a fan.
You listen. Hey, listen. You are a fan, and you are a fan too.
That's right. We're all one big happy
chat.
Halo chat.
Halo chat. Halo chat.
Look at my elite
VR.
tussie. and sponsored by VR Chat, not a sponsor.
Inside VR.
I mean, I think we could wrap it up there because that I mean, pretty good episode,
hey,
pretty good discussion.
Wrap this warthog up.
Okay. Let's wrap this warthog up. But thanks for hanging out with us. As always, drop the like, drop the subscribe. And if you have comments about the show, if you have concerns about the show, if you have something that you like, drop it in the comments below, because we really do want to hear what you think. Like, we don't want to be just Master Chief and just talking about Halo by ourselves. Like, we want to hear what you say too, and we'll talk about
But also we talk about Halo by ourselves a lot. So
we do.
But we would love to hear from you. I think that's really important to us. We know the community's huge. We know you guys have questions, comments, and concerns. So tell us. If not,
we know you have concerns.
We know you have concerns. So talk to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But until next time, we'll see you on Halo.